They used to laugh when they saw the medals. Not openly, not cruelly, just the kind of laughter people think is harmless, the quiet smiles, the exchanged glances, the soft chuckles that said, "Those are probably fake," without ever saying it out loud. The medals lay inside a cracked wooden box on the small table near the window of the old apartment. Their shine was gone, eaten away by time and neglect. Rust clung to the edges. Ribbons had faded into dull strips of color that no longer looked like victory, just memory. And she let them laugh. Her name was Evelyn Carter. To the neighbors, she was just an old woman who lived alone on the third floor. She walked slowly. Her back was bent. Her hands shook when she carried groceries. She wore the same brown coat every winter, stitched and re-stitched so many times that no one remembered what it looked like new. The children in the building had nicknamed her, Grandma Soldier. They thought it was funny. "Did you really fight in a war?" one boy once asked, eyes wide with playful disbelief. Evelyn had smiled gently and said, "Yes." The boy laughed and ran off. She didn't stop him, because the truth didn't need defending. Every Sunday afternoon, Evelyn cleaned the medals. She used a soft cloth and slow movements, her fingers tracing each piece of metal as if they were old friends. Some were heavy, some were simple. One had a deep scratch across its center, a scar, not damage. She remembered exactly how she got that one. The day smelled of smoke and rain. The radio crackled with panic. The convoy had been ambushed, and everyone froze for half a second too long. Everyone except her, but no one needed to know that now. The world had moved on. And so had she. The mocking grew louder when a new tenant moved in, Mark, a middle-aged man with a loud voice and louder opinions. One evening in the shared hallway, he noticed the open door to Evelyn's apartment and the medals on the table. He laughed. "Those old things," he said. "Come on, those look like they came from a flea market." Some neighbors chuckled behind him. Evelyn met his eyes calmly. "They're real," she said. Mark waved a hand dismissively. "Sure they are." That night, Evelyn placed the medals back in their box and closed the lid gently. She slept without dreams. 3 days later, the knock came. It was early morning, too early for visitors, too firm to be accidental. Evelyn rose slowly, her joints protesting as she walked to the door. When she opened it, the hallway changed forever. A man in full military uniform stood at attention outside her apartment. His chest was heavy with ribbons. His posture was flawless. His expression, unreadable. Behind him stood 2 officers. And behind them, silence. The general raised his hand in salute. The sound of boots snapping together echoed through the building. "Ma'am," he said, voice steady, powerful, respectful. "Permission to enter." Evelyn blinked once, then nodded. Within minutes, the hallway filled. Neighbors peeked through cracked doors. Whispers spread like wildfire. "A general? Is this a mistake? Is that for her?" Mark stood frozen, color draining from his face. Inside the apartment, the general stood before the small wooden table. "May I?" he asked. Evelyn opened the box. The general's breath caught. He reached out, not touching, just hovering, as if afraid of disturbing something sacred. "I never thought I'd see these again," he said softly. One medal in particular made his voice falter. "I was there," he continued. "That mission, only 3 of us survived." Evelyn looked at him. "You were the young lieutenant," she said. "The one with the broken radio." His eyes widened. "Yes," he whispered. "That was me." The room felt smaller, heavier. "I owe you my life," the general said, "and the lives of hundreds of others." He straightened. "Evelyn Carter," he said loudly. "Operative Ghost 7, Tactical Commander. The woman who rewrote modern battlefield evacuation strategy." Outside, neighbors listened in stunned silence. Mark staggered back against the wall. Evelyn simply smiled. "It was a long time ago," she said. The general shook his head. "No, ma'am," he said. "It was history." Before leaving, the general turned. "We're restoring your honors," he said. "Ceremony. Full recognition. The nation never forgot, even if people did." Evelyn nodded. When the door closed, the building remained silent for a long time. No one laughed anymore. After the general left, the building did not return to normal. It couldn't. People moved differently now. Doors opened more carefully. Voices dropped when Evelyn passed. Eyes that once skimmed past her now followed her with confusion, guilt, and something dangerously close to shame. Mark avoided the hallway entirely. For the first time in years, Evelyn noticed how loud silence could be. She returned the medals to their box, but this time she didn't close the lid all the way. Morning light spilled over the rusted edges, catching faint traces of gold beneath decay, proof that even time couldn't erase what had been earned. That afternoon, a black government vehicle waited outside her building. Evelyn sighed. "I was hoping for tea first," she murmured, grabbing her coat. The military base was massive, concrete, steel, discipline carved into every surface. Soldiers stopped mid-step as she passed. Some stared, some whispered, some stood straighter without knowing why. They knew her name, they just didn't know her face. Until now. Inside the briefing room, walls were covered with maps, timelines, casualty numbers, the cold math of survival. At the center stood the general from that morning, flanked by officials, historians, and officers far younger than the woman they were about to honor. "Ma'am," the general said, pulling out a chair. "We owe you everything." Evelyn sat. "No," she corrected calmly. "You owe the ones who didn't come back." The room went silent. They began projecting footage. Grainy black and white recordings. Radio logs. Handwritten field notes scanned and preserved. A code name repeated again and again. Ghost 7. She was everywhere, one analyst said. In nowhere. She rerouted entire battalions under enemy fire, another added. She predicted ambushes before satellites could. Then came the footage that made the general stop breathing. A young woman, dirt-streaked, blood on her sleeve, eyes burning with focus, dragging wounded soldiers one by one through smoke. That woman was Evelyn. She didn't look heroic. She looked inevitable. "They told us you died," the general said quietly. Evelyn nodded. That was the point. After the war, she disappeared by design. No interviews. No medals handed publicly. No applause. Heroes were useful during war. In peace, they were inconvenient reminders. So she vanished. Married briefly. Lost him. No children. No parade. Just time. News of the ceremony spread fast. The same neighbors who once laughed now watched television screens in disbelief. Mark sat alone in his apartment, staring at the broadcast as the anchor spoke. Today, the military honors Evelyn Carter, one of the most classified and influential operatives in modern history. He turned the TV off. Some realizations come too late to apologize for. The ceremony was precise, perfect, heavy with meaning. Evelyn stood on the stage, medals newly restored, gleaming under the lights. The general read her citations, missions that saved thousands, strategies still taught in war colleges. But when he finished, Evelyn raised her hand. "One thing," she said into the microphone. The room froze. "I don't want applause for bravery," she said. "I want remembrance for sacrifice." She gestured toward the screen behind her. Names appeared, hundreds of them. The fallen. They didn't get old, she continued. They didn't get rusty medals. They didn't get to be mocked. Her voice did not break. But something broke inside everyone listening. After the ceremony, a young soldier approached her. "Ma'am," he said nervously, "how did you survive it all?" Evelyn smiled, the same gentle smile she gave the children in her building. "I didn't," she said softly. "I just lived long enough to carry the memory." When she returned home, the hallway was waiting. Neighbors stood awkwardly, holding flowers, words stuck in their throats. Mark was there too. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. I laughed. Evelyn looked at him, really looked. "I know," she replied. She unlocked her door. That's why this mattered. That night, she placed the medals back in their box. But this time, she didn't hide them. She set them in the open. Where truth belongs.